Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Michael, how do you start processing, preparing? How long back did you start looking at this? Just what is the process to get yourself ready to make your first laps here in just a few minutes?
Yeah, I think that, you started looking at the layout and configuration and things like that, months ago. As far as, putting pen to paper and kind of drawing up your game plan and whether it's, time on the simulation at GM Performance, those things, I would say probably about a month ago it all started. And then kind of ramped up each week a little bit more and a little bit more because you're still getting ready for Charlotte and Nashville and Michigan and all those things. So, we kept working Mexico in. And I would say it's been about a month as far as that goes. And then, just in general, just trying to, think about and approach it, what is it close to other road courses? What are the curbs going to be like? All those things. You're trying to put pieces together that you don't know until you can physically see it and touch it. But yeah, it's been fun to get here, and it's I'm glad it's finally here and looking forward to it.
We'll come down here in the front to Holly.
Hi, Michael. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. As somebody who is so proficient on road courses, how exciting is it to come here and get on this road course that's used by Formula One? I mean, do you enjoy going to the new road courses and the challenge that presents?
Yeah, I love it. I'm, obviously biased because road racing is kind of my thing and I love it. And so we know that those are opportunities for us, but also too, just it's not as intimidating to me getting into the rhythm and learning new tracks and things like that. That doesn't mean that it's easy. I'm not trying to portray that, but it's kind of like Kyle Larson going to a dirt track tonight. He figures it out really fast. I feel like road courses are a little bit like that for me, where I can get acclimated pretty quickly and pretty comfortable. And so it's fun. And then anytime that you go somewhere new is fun because you know that it's the same for everybody. And that it's kind of like starting from ground zero. Some of us do have experience here, but track configuration has changed and a lot has changed since we've ran here. So yeah, that part of it is exciting. And for me, anytime that they add a road course to the schedule, I'm excited. So yeah, this is a big weekend for all of us.
We'll come right here in the front, then we'll go to Matt, and then Dustin.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to Mexico City.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, what do you expect about this weekend, the first punchable NASCAR career here out of the United States, and what is your favorite thing about Mexico?
So my favorite thing about Mexico, it's been 20 years since I've raced here, but it's the fans. Like, I just know how Sunday's going to be, and it's incredible energy and incredible atmosphere, and it feels like a festival and a concert and a race all happening at one time. And like I said, it was 20 years ago when I was here, but at the time, Luis Diaz and Mario Dominguez were racing, and those guys were heroes. Like, every time they went into a corner, you heard the crowd cheer, and wherever they walked, the crowd went nuts. And I'm just like, I can't imagine what it's going to be like for Daniel on Sunday. I really can't. It's going to be wild. But just the energy that the fans have here is electric. And, the challenges and with the race course and all those things is, road courses for us, everybody's super aggressive and long straightaways, big break zones. There's going to be opportunities for chaos, and we usually find a way to create it. So, that's what you get nervous about. That's the challenges, is that you can be putting together a perfect race and you could be having a great weekend and just, get wiped out. So, those are the concerns you have going into it.
We'll come over here to Matt and then to Dustin.
Matt Weaver, The Sporting News. As a guy that's raced here before in Grand Am, and certainly your open wheel background, that discipline is they're familiar with racing on international stages. How important is it for NASCAR and the Cup Series to take its show here to Mexico and to the world stage in general?
Yeah, really important. I think that, I want to be careful because I know people will take little sound bites, but we have some of the best racing in the world, if not the best racing. When it comes to side-by-side passes, passing for the lead, and I think that the product that we put on and the race that we put on, we should be on a global stage. And this is that first step for us to do that. And I hope that in the future we'll continue to make those advancements, because I feel like our sport is cool and big enough and exciting enough to pull that off. and you just see the momentum with Formula One, and you see the momentum with IndyCar. Yes, our racing is different, but I believe that when you sit in the stands, we put on a better show.
And then you never know with the mountains here. There's a lot of rain in the forecast, and you're familiar with that as well. Are you pro racing in the rain or anti racing in the rain?
I'm neutral. I don't mind it if it rains. I like driving in the rain. I like racing in the rain. It does add challenges and it adds variables that sometimes are controllable and sometimes are not controllable. And so what I don't love is mix. And a lot of times that's what we get, right? It's usually never just a straightforward, this is going to be a rain race or a dry race. So I don't mind it. I actually look forward to it. I hope that we get a rain session today and a dry session today, and we get one of both so we can be prepared. But the fun part about racing in the rain is a driver's ability to find grip and to find the right line and to miss the puddles and to extract the most out of the car in a really difficult situation. And so I enjoy the challenge of it. Probably what I don't enjoy is no different than we talked about in the dry, is somebody locking up hydroplaning at the end of the straightaway and wiping you out when you're having a good day. Those are the variables you can't control, but we're ready for each and every situation. I think our cars handle well in the rain. This new next-gen car's done well in the rain. It's not, the hydroplaning and all those things, just depends on how much water there is. The drainage is pretty good here in most areas. There's a few areas that looked like they were creating some puddles, but I feel like all in all, we should be able to do both well.
We'll come down here to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Michael, what are the areas you feel like you need to be good at here, and what are the compromises you have to make on track to be good in those areas?
Yeah, you want to be good in the brake zones just because they're so important here. Turn one, obviously, 4,000 foot straightaway. So you want to be good in the brakes into 1, into 4, and then again into 11. But a lot of times when you try to put braking potential into the car, you do sacrifice, some handling and stability through the S's in particular. So that's the compromise. The compromise is you want to be strong in both, and you don't want to give up too much. But I feel like the braking zones here are going to be really important.
And also, you've talked about the crowd experience and what it's like to race here, and some of the heroes that have raced here. If you're running second on Sunday and the 99 is in front of you.
Oh, this is a fun conversation. My crew chief and I had a fun conversation about this.
Are you, what will that be? Obviously, I know in the moment in the car, that's just another competitor. But the fact that it will be the 99, what might that be like if you...
I don't think there's a good answer to this or a right answer. But AJ and I actually spoke about this on the bus this morning, too. We were just having some fun, and Bowman was on there with us, too. And, my crew chief said, I told him about my experience down here. So my experience down here was Timo Glock was my teammate, and we had identical cars. They're bright yellow Rocket Sport cars with a little bit of red on them. They looked identical. Hard to tell the difference between the two cars. And Timo spun out Mario Dominguez, I believe. And the crowd was chanting. I won't tell you what they were chanting. And we had to have an escort to get out of here. No joke. Just because I was wearing the same suit and in the same car. And so I was reminiscing about that, and I was like, you do not want to spin out Suarez here. I can tell you that. You do not want to do that. That is not a part of your strategy for the weekend. But my crew chief and I were talking about it. He's like, well, what do you mean? You're telling me last lap, last corner, you're not going to move him out of the way? And I'm like, nope, no, I'm not. I think that when it comes to that, in the moment, things happen, right? And if you're side by side and you're racing hard and you're doing all those things, our sport's like that. I'm not going to give up a win. I mean, you guys know how much wins mean in this sport and getting in the playoffs and everything that comes with it. So you're never going to lay over for anybody. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out of my way to rough them up. I mean, that's for sure. But I think that goes the same for everybody. I think that's part of the weird etiquette at road course racing. I mean, Daniel and I have had great battles at road courses, and him and I battled at Sonoma the time that he won. And there's moments in there where I wish I could go back and be like, oh man, if I would have just came off the break and got in front of him, I think I would have held that lead. And then he was the guy that I passed for the Indy win. If you guys remember, he was leading and I passed him to take the win. So I think him and I have a high level of mutual respect. We're both guys that go for it though. If we're in that situation, that's great. That means we had a great day and we're racing for the win, but I would be careful. I think that's the best way to say it, is that there's, it's not the safety part of it. It's just, this is a great opportunity, an unbelievable opportunity, and I think everybody knows that and sees it. So, yeah.
We'll come right down here in the front.
Good morning, Mr. McDowell.
Good morning.
Compared to all the races that NASCAR usually races, there's an extreme elevation difference here in Mexico City. Have you and the team prepared for this extreme difference compared to, for example, Daytona, that it's sea level?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of effort that's gone into it. Obviously, you're not going to change the altitude. We knew what it was going to be before we got here, and the teams have been working hard on cooling and preparing for that, as far as engines and brakes and et cetera, because that, with the air density, that's a big part of it. It's just super inefficient here. So, you're losing close to 30% of your efficiency of cooling. So that's definitely a concern for everybody and something that's been on everybody's minds, And when it comes to the driver and the altitude training, there's, a lot of different strategies and a lot of different philosophies. And I by no means feel like the scientist that has got it right, but I've been here a few times and I've experienced a few times, so I sort of know what works for me. And it is a challenge, and honestly, it's part of the reason why I decided not to run the Xfinity race, was because I felt like this is a really physically demanding weekend, getting acclimated to the altitude and road racing in general. And yes, extra laps and extra seat time would be great to be more familiar, but I felt like you're going to be at your limit on Sunday, and I want to make sure that I have the best possibility I can.
And we'll take one more question right here in the middle.
It's kind of NASCAR.com. Is there anything you change in your prep for the race, for the elevation, like specifically to get more acclimated to the racing on Sunday?
We increased things, but nothing changed dramatically. We did do some different things as far as, I won't tell you. We did some things to train for it. But I feel like everybody's probably done some version of what they feel like to help them get acclimated. But I feel like nutrition and sleep and hydration and supplementation is a big part of it too. And I feel like I have that worked out pretty well. We'll see. Sunday, if you go to interview me after the race and I can't breathe, you'll know that I didn't do a very good job.
Steven Stump of FrontStretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.